All right, welcome back to the Proximity is Power podcast. This is episode 2 with my good friend here, Andy Holmes.
Hey.
Andy is a 3-time Golden Door Award winner, 2 in pest control, 1 in solar. He also is an avid real estate investor, and he is the host of the podcast called
Summer Sales Podcast.
Let's Go.
Yeah.
And yeah, we actually have a property together too. So me and Andy go way back. So Andy, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me, man.
This is gonna be fun. I was making a list of people that I wanted on, and like you came to mind right away. So
yeah, probably just to make sure that I don't try to get out of the property with you.
Yeah.
No, dude, that property has seriously been so sick though.
For real.
Like I will give you a little bit of credit. I found the place, but I didn't want to deal with how big of a headache it was going to be because it's almost 6,000 square feet.
Yeah, it's huge.
But yeah, I found the deal and brought you in, and you got incredible rents on it. So like, it's been a complete cash cow. We actually bought it. Did you know that Jimmy Rex actually sold it to Sam?
Really?
Jimmy helped Sam get that place, and then we bought it. Anyone in the summer sales world, we bought a triplex from Sam Taggart a couple years ago, and
Stealer deal.
Dude, we've done decent.
It's probably one of my top 3 best investments ever.
Yeah. And it wasn't even we didn't do anything crazy with it. Like we put in like $150K between both of us.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been like we've gotten pretty decent returns the whole time. So
the entire time. Lots of fun stories along the way.
Yeah.
Some lawsuits, some
dealing with the city.
Dealing with the Orem City and all that stuff. But right now we're locked and loaded, and it's just producing cash every month. So
yeah, good thing I had somebody in my proximity like Gage Heward to be able to take care of it.
Dude, honestly, I'm really grateful for you sending me that deal, because it's been a great investment for us. So
yeah,
it's just gonna keep chugging.
Love it.
I actually drove past it on our way here because it's literally 2 minutes away from the studio. So
sometimes I hate driving by my properties just because it's like, you never want to buy like a super nice looking property. Yeah. Like you do, but you don't, because you can get a better deal if it doesn't look like perfect curb appeal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so sometimes it's hard because you want to pretty it up, but at the same time, the return on investment isn't there. You're not going to truly be able to increase rents that much for how much money you're putting into it.
Right. Yeah. You should drive by. It looks good.
Yeah. The grass is
green as
we've
ever.
got grass.
Yeah, we've got grass.
Good.
There's just dirt and weeds for the first year we had it. But dude, so Andy is awesome. Me and Andy met when we were working together at Aptive. We were both under Tosh, and then you were with Judd. And we just kind of crossed paths that way, and being in the same, leadership training, stuff like that. And that's how we got connected. But the reason I wanted to have you on is out of all of my friends and all the top guys in door to door, you're definitely one of the best of all time, right?
I'll take it.
I don't know. There's not a lot of people that have ever hit a golden door, and then for you to do it not just in pest but in solar, you've totally, I don't know anyone that's gotten a golden door in 2 industries. Is there anyone else besides you?
I'm sure there are. I know that sometimes I've heard of people on other podcasts who have, they got a solar golden door and a roofing golden door.
Yeah.
Because they'd basically hunt down distressed, they would go storm hunting.
Oh, gotcha.
And so the roofs get messed up, insurance is paying for the roof, and then they throw solar on top.
Yeah, just double whammy.
Double whammy, get the tax credit on everything.
Yeah.
So they were able to kind of double dip on that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if anyone has just sold one thing and got a golden door and then just sold another thing.
And yeah.
I don't know. It's pretty
impressive. For those of you guys that don't know, a golden door is just a ton of either accounts or revenue that you have to sell in either pest control, solar, alarms, any industry. There's a required amount for you to be a golden door winner. And he's done that 3 years. So pretty impressive. But I wanted to open up, Andy, and just talk about you and like where are you from, what your childhood was like what were you like growing up as a kid?
Yeah.
You play sports? Yeah, just stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess where do you want me to start?
Where were you born, and yeah, like what was the family dynamic growing up?
Yeah, so I was born in Ann Arbor, Michigan. What's cool is my dad, like he got his MBA. He actually worked on Wall Street when I was like being born. He worked for Morgan Stanley. And then he actually got transferred to Deutsche Bank because he served an LDS mission for 2 years, learned Mandarin in Hong Kong. And so he got transferred, and I actually lived in Hong Kong and Singapore.
Whoa.
2.5 years Hong Kong, 2.5 years Singapore.
How old were you?
Little, like basically from like 18 months through like kindergarten.
Okay.
And I came back to Utah, to the States.
Okay.
For first grade and just moved around a bunch. But it was cool because like I have a dad who's like really good at finance and really like he really understands that stuff. He's had a really good, successful career. But the hard thing with that is because he's very smart, very intelligent, as an unintelligent like a kid who had a lot to learn, like I think me and all my siblings, we kind of butted heads with my dad a bit.
Yeah.
And then my mom is like the ultimate sweetheart. She'll do anything for you. So that was really cool. But yeah, I think I think I had a pretty safe dynamic growing up. Like I never really had to worry about like where food was coming from, if that makes sense. But we also weren't rich, which seems interesting because my dad was an investment banker. He did make some investments, he got screwed out of, bad timing. And it's not that he lost everything, but had he made different plays, he would have, a very large net worth right now. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
So, we never really had to worry about money. But at the same time, I wasn't shopping at Buckle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Like I had my Payless Shaq shoes that I got made fun of that I wore to in middle school, that kind of stuff. So
yeah. Same here. It's funny because my dad's in finance too. And my mom's a sweetheart, and me and my dad butted heads a little bit too, but now we're doing good. But that's funny because same thing, like shopping at Payless, Ross or whatever for clothes.
Yeah.
And you don't really realize that until you're like junior high, high school years where you start to notice stuff like that.
Yeah.
Different brands that your friends are wearing and like what's cool, what's not.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess childhood, what were your hobbies? Like what were you into when you were a kid?
Yeah. So I've always been like a really like interesting thinker. Okay. Like I was really creative. My kindergarten, first grade, second grade teachers would like send home these art projects. Not that I was good at art, but I was just like really good at thinking outside the box. Because I went to a really good kindergarten, like Singapore American school, dude, I was like on a second or a third grade level when I came home or when I came back to the States.
Wow.
So going into first grade, I was on like a third grade level, and that sounds cool, but it was actually like one of the worst things that could have happened.
Yeah.
Just because I was so much smarter than all the other kids around me.
For their head.
Well, so what happened was I didn't have to be diligent. I didn't have to homework was easy, and so I kind of learned bad habits. So that way, once everyone else caught up, fifth, sixth, basically from there, I didn't have good study habits, that kind of thing. So it kind of bit me in the butt. But yeah, I like playing basketball, like playing football. I had decent friends, but not like great friends, especially when I was younger.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you grow up mostly in Utah then?
Grew up mostly in Arizona, like second grade to eighth grade was Arizona. And then, ninth grade on up, just Utah, South Jordan.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then did you know what you wanted to do for work when you were a little kid?
I thought so. I thought I wanted to be in some kind of sports medicine.
Okay.
Right?
Dude, I thought about that too. Like that would be a sick job.
I think we all like enjoyed playing sports and wanted to be a part of it. And we heard doctors made good money. Yeah. But yeah, I never liked school. And so I remember it must have been 7th grade, 8th grade. We went to the computer lab and we had to do this thing where we had to figure out what job we wanted and we had to research it. And so I wanted to be a chiropractor. And I went in and I was looking up chiropractors and it was saying what their workload was and how much schooling and how much money they made. And it was like the average chiropractor was going to make I think it was 40-ish grand.
Wow.
And I know that there's a lot who probably make a ton more, whatever. Right. But I was just like, wow, 40 grand is not a lot. And I knew that when I was little.
Yeah. Totally.
The one thing that my dad taught me that's probably been the most impactful thing on my adult life is that $100K a year is not a lot of money.
Yeah.
He would tell me stories about his friends and people he knew who were business consultants that would charge $50,000 a day plus costs. So these big companies would fly him out for 4 days, pick him up in a limo, whatever. They'd drop $250,000 for this guy. And but he would review the company and find ways to save them 10 million. And so it's the easiest return on investment.
Right.
But if my dad had friends making $50,000 a day, this whole 6 figures, $100,000, that's not the dream. That's not the, hey, I've made it.
Yeah. He's that's not enough. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was able to understand that early. And I didn't know what I was going to do for a job. I didn't know that I was going to be in sales, enjoy sales, didn't know that I was going to be in real estate. That sounded like a nightmare, fixing toilets, all that stuff. I still don't know how to fix a toilet.
Yeah. Same.
But it was just because I was able to learn, because I was able to have a bigger view, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that's really helped me with sales and just life in general. Podcast name is Power is Proximity, or podcast name is Proximity is Power.
There you go.
Being around people like you, the most successful people that I know are all in sales. Most of them in summer sales, but in one way or another, they're all dominant at sales. Totally. And so, learning from you, learning that from my dad, other things from my dad, I don't know, super helpful.
So I love that, first of all. I agree. All my friends who are balling out, 99% of them were in sales or whatever. So you're looking, researching different jobs, chiropractor. Your dad basically says, hey, 40 grand's not enough. Even 100 grand's not enough. You need to make more than that. And then, so walk me through, you graduate high school. What happens next for Andy? Are you working through high school years, by the way?
I worked my senior year a little bit.
Doing what?
I worked at Zupa's.
Heck yeah.
Dude, I was the best door greeter.
I bet you were.
I wasn't good at salads. I couldn't make things.
Okay.
But they liked me at the door because I was nice and friendly.
Yeah.
At least, when I was younger, I was.
Okay.
But worked at Zupa's. I played basketball and football growing up.
Okay.
But I think just unfortunate timing with some things and insecurities stopped me from playing sports. Mm-hmm. And so, I was in student government in high school, but after high school, I served a mission. I served in Piura, Peru, which was awesome. Spanish helps a lot in sales. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Especially Florida.
Florida, Texas, San Diego, a bunch of markets that I've sold. Yeah. Speaking Spanish has made me a lot of money.
Absolutely.
But served a mission. After my mission, went to BYU. That was in 2015. And I am not proud to say, but I am still enrolled at BYU. I actually have a class that I need to go to later today.
Really?
Still haven't got my 4-year degree. It's been 9 years and I have high school credits. I just haven't needed school.
Yeah.
school will do nothing for my career.
Yeah.
But it's more of just like I've got 12 credits left.
Yeah. Just might as well.
Might as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started sales. I met my wife, got married before our first summer. She got pregnant like 3 weeks into us being married.
Wow.
So like, yeah, a few weeks. It was 9 weeks in. We were 3 weeks out for the summer. We figured out that she was 6 weeks pregnant.
Holy crap.
Yeah, weird sounding timeline, but we had a 2-month-old on our first anniversary.
Dang.
But yeah, we've just been really lucky, really blessed. Not just have found the companies we worked with, but also be surrounded by so many other people who are just like impressive and popping off.
Yeah.
You know?
So, okay, so you go on a mission to Peru, which was a really good experience for you. And then you come back, go to BYU. And then did you immediately get introduced to sales, or how did that happen? How'd you get into door to door?
Yeah, so my older brothers had sold. Okay. So I knew I was going to come back and do sales. Like my oldest brother, he had done it for 4 years.
Okay.
He was a team leader.
Pest control.
Yeah. He sold with Altera, which had a transaction turned into Aptive.
Right.
So I thought I was going to go sell with him, but he graduated college and took a different route. He had a bum knee, and so it was really hard for him to like physically do the summer. So I went out with Brandon Bailey. My dad actually tried to talk me out of going and doing sales my first summer.
Really? Even after you saw your brothers crush it?
Well, my brothers did well.
Okay.
Like they did, my brother's best year was 224 accounts.
Okay.
And yeah, he tried to talk me out of sales because he knew that it was good money. But I was just recently getting married.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, prioritize that. And it was kind of interesting just because I truly considered not doing sales. I said, okay, let's say sales is off the table. What do we do instead?
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, Beth worked 40 hours a week during the summer. I work 40 hours a week. So we're still both full-time working.
Right.
But then we'd also have to work during the school year.
Right.
And I was like, what sounds more stressful, guaranteeing that I have to work?
Right.
Or, shooting my shot and potentially not having to work during the school year at all.
Making more in that one summer. So it's like 3 summers pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or 3 years worth, whatever.
Yeah. And so luckily I went out and sold, and I wasn't sick. Both you and we weren't sick at sales.
I sucked.
Dude. Well, I was better than you to start.
Yeah, you were.
I did 227 my first year, which, to anyone listening, I made like 45 grand my first summer.
That's good.
Which was sick.
Yeah.
You did a little bit less than that.
Yeah, I did 150.
But
where were you selling that first summer?
San Diego.
Okay.
Yeah, I sold my first 3 summers in San Diego.
Okay, and then I know I heard somewhere that you were role playing on the way out to San Diego with your wife, right? Like you had just gotten married. How soon before did you get married before you headed out to San Diego?
We got married end of March.
Okay.
And left for San Diego 3-4 weeks later.
That's crazy. So you're married now and you're taking care of a wife, and then you're going through that transition while also going from hourly jobs to just straight commission in San Diego.
Yeah.
Were you nervous?
We had like $700 in the bank account, but rent in San Diego was $2,000 a month.
Oh my gosh.
So I was definitely a little nervous.
Yeah.
But I went out and I did well. Like I sold 5 my first day, so that was sick. Then bageled the next day. But yeah, it was just, I didn't know what to expect. Like I was naturally, I feel like I'm naturally good at a lot of things. Like I feel like I'm probably naturally better just starting out than most people, but that's kind of also been a curse because once other people catch up, kind of like the school story, they have the right, they've learned the right things to build on. Meanwhile, I was just naturally good, so I didn't have to practice as much, whatever.
Right.
So yeah, kind of that's a reoccurring theme in my life of I was good to start.
Natural. Yeah.
I was natural, but at the same time, that also people who are naturally good at things oftentimes aren't successful people just because they don't learn the right habits or they don't stick with things. I didn't consider myself a finisher. I quit football. I walked out of basketball tryouts, like those kind of things. I just let my own insecurities get in my way. And it was easier to like go start something new that I was better starting out than your typical person, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Like I couldn't just like stick to one thing until, just working through sales.
So was that first summer the first time where you really like committed to something and like followed through?
Yeah, like
you did the mission, obviously.
Yeah, I did my mission, but I mean, even as a missionary, like, I don't know, like I was very obedient, but I was more letter of the law versus spirit of the law. And, I wish I would have, if I could go back, I would do things slightly different. But yeah, like with sales that first summer, I don't know, dude, sales is hard, especially as a rookie. And like, I was doing decent, my first 3 months, but it wasn't until like my last month of the summer where I was like, you know what, I've really got to buckle down and like figure things out. And I had a huge August, basically, half of my I guess like 40% of my summer came in my last like 3 weeks.
That's so baller.
Yeah. Yeah. Which was cool, but it was like push comes to shove. Like I've got to make this happen.
Yeah.
And I did it, and was able to take that and build little by little just over my last 8 years of sales.
Yeah. So okay. So you get back from your summer, you made decent money. Are you back in school again?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
with a pregnant wife.
Yeah. That's crazy. And then, are you like excited about the next year? What are you kind of thinking after that first summer?
Yeah. Yeah. I thought I was going to recruit 1 million people. I really did try. Like, I brought out like 5 or 7 guys that next year.
Okay.
But I had one come back, and then it was kind of like just a constant rinse and repeat. Like guys would come out, they'd make 35, 40 grand, but like, for one reason or another, couldn't come back. Yeah. Or maybe they made 25 grand and after expenses wasn't worth it. But yeah, I was all in on sales. But I don't know, like I got better. Actually, my first year to my second year was my most difficult, like mentally jumping year, if that makes sense.
How come?
I did, just because 407 accounts in pest control, like back in the day, dude.
It was baller. Dude, like unreal.
I didn't know anyone who had done 400 accounts.
Yeah.
Like I didn't. I'd heard of people who had done those, and like anyone who had done 400 accounts or more, like everyone knew who those people were.
Totally.
It's way different from how it is today.
Yeah.
And so like, it was really hard to start to believe that like, oh, I can be twice as good just because I decide that I want to.
Yeah.
I
feel like out of all the people I know, like Andy Holmes is probably like one of the hardest working people I know. Like legit.
When I'm working, yes, but I also drop off really hard when I'm not working.
Yeah, but like year after year, I feel like you have like the biggest August, and like you outwork everyone. You
want to know why that is though? You just said I have the biggest August.
Why?
It's because I knew in my like growing up that I was insecure about being a finisher. I won't go into too many details, but the football coaches didn't like me.
Yeah.
And so rather than putting my head down and pushing, I just said, hey, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
And then I played a ton of basketball, tried to make the basketball team, but I got discouraged during tryouts. Like I'd been to all the open gyms and I walked out, And so throughout my life, I'd had this kind of repeating theme of not being a finisher. And so that's why that first summer in August, like I said, nope, I'm a finisher. Like I'm sprinting through the finish line.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
Yeah. So I was able to use sales to kind of like shift my identity, if that makes sense. So yeah, August is the best month of the year to sell. For everyone else, it's the worst, but yeah, I just changed my identity. So I'm sorry, little side tangent.
No, that's so cool that you like had those experiences growing up and then you made them serve you, you became the exact opposite of who, you were trending to be back then. 'Cause I feel like so many times people have like life either happens so many people's mindsets, like life happens to me and like, oh, like I quit this thing. I'm not a finisher. I'm a quitter. And then they just continue to quit their entire lives.
Yeah. They do sales, they do school, they quit the next thing. They couldn't figure out this job.
Yeah. They go try the next best thing that they heard of and then quit that. But like you were like decided, hey, that's not who I want to be. And you flipped it and you made the decision and then you actually followed through. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So you go out first summer, sell how many?
227.
227. And then second summer you did 407.
Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah. And then third year you did
507.
507. I remember 500. So 507, and that was 2018.
Yeah.
Okay. 2018. I started in 2017. So I think that's when we started. Yeah, chatting a little bit.
Yeah, because you popped off your second summer. You did like just under 500.
Yeah, I did 472.
Yeah.
So I was in the 400 club that year. And yeah, I had went from 150 to 472. And I feel like, yeah, for me, similar, like it was really hard to be able to believe to go from like, 200 or 150 to go to 400, 500. Because 150 to 472, that's like triple.
Yeah.
It is triple, right?
It's literally
more than triple.
Yeah.
And so like when I first decided I wanted to make $100,000, I knew I had to sell over 400 something accounts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no effing way could I go triple what I've done my first summer.
Well, it sounds like wishful thinking.
Yeah.
And for most people when they set a goal, like it's not a goal, it's a wish.
Right.
Dude, if everything went perfect, like if I could just, have my 3 wishes from the genie, one of them would be sell this much so I can have $100,000.
Right.
But like, what did you do to make it so it wasn't a wish, like for you?
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Yeah. Good question. What I think really worked is every single day I had a mentor that told me to write down my goals every single day. Top 10.
Casey Baugh.
I mentioned him last podcast and the first one I was a guest
Dude, you're fanboying for Casey Baugh.
I'm a disciple forever. I'm gonna try and get him on the show, but
do it.
Dude, so he taught me the top 10 list where basically you write down your top 10 goals every day. So you write the date, your top 10 goals as if they've already happened. So he challenged me after my first summer. I hit my goal of, I wanted to make 20 grand, hit my goal. He's like, Gage, setting your goal for 20 grand, like you did it, good job. But you do the same thing for 20 grand, it works for 100. Like you set a goal, it can happen for you. And that's when I was like, no way, like that's crazy. I realized I had to sell 400. And he's like, Gage, what I want you to do is every single day, write down, I sold 400 plus accounts. I earned 100K over and over. So I'd write it down and then I'd say it out loud in my closet, like affirmations. Like, and I felt like an idiot the first 3 weeks to like first 2 months of doing that. And this was like December, 5 months before that coming summer. And I remember just doing that in my closet, just feeling like an idiot. Like, I'm like, I sold 400 accounts. And I was like, there's no effing way.
Yeah.
But after like a month, 2 months of doing that, I started to build the belief in myself that I could. I was like, hell yeah, I can sell 400. Hell yeah, I can make $100,000.
And you start thinking about like, here's what I can do different.
Exactly. Because like most people, they don't even believe it. So they don't even think of the how or what they need to change or what they need to do differently to go achieve a goal like that. But once I started to believe it, and how you believe in something, how do you believe in something that you've never accomplished? You get the result in your head over and over and over. You become obsessed with it, you get clarity, and you build belief in yourself.
Yeah.
And so I started to do that, and literally I started to believe it. And then I was like, okay, I am going to do this. What could I do between now and the summer to help me prepare? And what could I do during the summer differently than I did my first summer that would help me reach those goals? And like, I got a million answers from my mind. Like one was, I should interview Andy Holmes, take him to lunch. I should talk to Brigham Lindsay. So I started doing that and then reading a bunch of sales books. And then I made like a plan for the summer. I'm like, okay, here was my work ethic, my first summer. Here was my attitude. And here's how much I trained. And I just made a plan to work more hours. And part of that was working a full 4 months instead of 2, like my first half summer. And then that was one thing, and having a car so I could control the hours I worked. And then being positive, I like gave myself incentives every step of the way and like made a plan to like keep a positive mindset. And then third, take the training seriously. And that year I read 150 books. You know,
that's a book every 2 days, basically.
Every 2 days. Like I was listening, I was reading, like I just went to my own like college pretty much on sales. And sure enough, dude, it was July and I was at 434 accounts. And literally I got my 1099 from Aptiv. I ended the summer with 472. And I got my 1099 from Aptiv, and it literally says $100,731.
Dude.
And that's when I got the chills, because I was like, I've been repeating this goal for a year.
Yeah.
And I never believed that it was going to come true, and it did. And I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
And then I went to Casey and told him, and I was like,
dude, anyway. So one thing that I love about that, because the question that I asked was, how did you make it so it wasn't just wishful thinking?
Yeah, that was a very long answer.
No. I love that.
Yeah.
But like most people, when they set a goal, it's a wish. It's something that they would like to have happen.
And never think about it again.
Yeah. But what you did is you made it a plan.
Yeah.
Like there's a very big difference when you're setting a goal that you're wishing you can make, that you can accomplish. Like wishing that you can accomplish a goal does nothing for you.
Mm-hmm.
But starting to believe that it's possible, and now how can you make it probable? Like
totally.
you basically just set out this whole plan on how you were going to do this different, and you went from doing 150 accounts in 4 months to doing 450 accounts in 3.
Right.
You know? So literally crazy. You were selling your whole first 4 months, your whole first summer, every single month.
Yeah, no, it was crazy, because like my best week, my first summer was 27.
Yeah.
And I only got one of those. And literally every week, my second summer, I was averaging 30 to 40 accounts a week. And it was like mind blowing.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's really hard when your best week was 27 to think, oh, I can do that every single week
of the summer.
Yeah. Like my third summer, I did 500 accounts.
Yeah.
My best week ever was 37.
Okay.
Which was sick.
Yeah. Really good.
I came up with a goal. I wanted to hit 1,000 accounts. I wanted to hit a golden door my fourth summer.
Yeah.
Okay. The math on that. If I was to not do a 4-month summer, but if I was to do a 6-month summer, I would need to average 40 accounts a week for 6 months straight with no missed days.
Wow. So literally do more than your best week for 6 months.
For 6 months straight.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. So that was a little intimidating once I did that math. But just like with you, like I realized I wanted to accomplish a certain thing.
Yeah.
And so I started like reverse engineering, like what are the things I can change?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, if you could find a way to knock an extra 10%,
right.
It would be illogical to think that you wouldn't at least get an extra 10% results.
Totally.
You know? And so it was just fine tuning and tweaking and 100 different things. Like I couldn't get 100% better to double from 500 to 1,000.
Totally.
But I could get 1% better in 100 things.
Yeah. And you could knock 2 more months. Like, yeah, there's a lot of things.
And so what's interesting is like, first off, I set that goal and I was behind pace for a while, but I just kind of like kept with it. Yeah. I ended up hitting it in 4.5 months. So I averaged 50.1 serviced.
So baller.
A week.
Dude, and I remember I was knocking that summer, and every day I was checking the leaderboard, and Andy Holmes, 10.
Dude.
15. What was your best day that summer? You had like a crazy day.
Oh gosh, 25.
25.
Yeah, it was in the Masters Championship.
Was it Jake West you were playing?
Of course, baby. Yeah. I'm the only one who's beat Jake West in a championship.
Let's go.
But yeah, it was a lot of mental barriers were broken that year, and you know.
That was 2021, right?
That was 2019. So 2019.
Okay, 2019.
Another Golden Door in 2020.
Okay. That's right.
But dude, like the whole proximity is power. Like I was with an incredible team. Like my whole team was popping off. I had Kellen Isaac, who's chief sales officer at Lumio Solar right now. And like, dude, because I don't think I needed to have Kellen there. I don't think I needed to have those other people on the team like help lift me to how well I did that summer, because I had other support groups.
Right.
But I think it would have been a 6-month thing. Like I knew I was going to hit my goal. I wanted to do it in 6 months. I was willing to do it in 7 months. But because I had like dogs with me, Kellen had done 400. He jumped all the way up to 900.
Right.
Like because he was there, it made it so that way, like my path was a lot easier and a lot faster.
Yeah.
And I think that that's why it's so important to like surround yourself with dogs, just because like it makes everything so much easier for you. Like your 472 summer, like, was that the year that Tosh was selling?
Yeah. So dude, Tosh, that was the luckiest thing ever, because I had no idea how I was going to get this goal. And then to find out Tosh was actually going to come out of retirement and knock for 2 months.
Yeah.
My goal was like to sell 400, make $100,000. And my other goal was to like sell more than Tosh for the 2 months he was out there. And I did.
Yeah.
Like every day I just wanted to beat Tosh. Caleb Karpowitz was on that team. Sky, Tosh's little brother. Like there was like so many good people on that team, and Tosh doing the trainings just took my whole sales ability to a new level.
Did you know that all those guys were going to be on your team before you set your goal?
Dude, no, because like my cousin was going to lead one side of Indianapolis, and then Tosh was going to lead the other. But my cousin had like a lot of reps drop off last minute, and I'm like, hey, dude, let's just merge with Tosh, because I was doing preseason and I saw some of Tosh's early trainings on the Indy team before my cousin got out. And I'm like, oh, this guy's good.
Yeah.
This guy's good at training. And so, that was an unreal team.
What I love about that, though, is like I'm a big believer in like attracting success to you.
Totally.
You know, like I think that you kind of have to mentally envision it and like bring things into your life. Like if you've ever read the book, The Secret, you know, it's basically like the law of attraction.
Right.
You, without knowing how, wanted to make 100K.
Right.
You knew you had to sell over 400 accounts.
Yeah.
And dude, somehow, some way, everything just, all the dominoes fell so perfectly that you were put in this insane spot, you know, where you just had a bunch of dogs. Same thing with me that my fourth summer where it went for 1,000. I was supposed to be, I think I was supposed to be in Indianapolis as well, actually, with Caleb Patterson.
Yeah.
But like he recruited so well that we couldn't join anymore, so I had to like join with Kellen and those guys. It was just like pure
and you were selling in
happenstance.
Tampa.
Yeah.
And that was their first year too, right? Was it? Did you open it?
We opened Tampa.
Okay, yeah.
But like the reason why I bring that up, dude, is because like we both set this goal beforehand.
That seemed insane.
That seemed absolutely insane.
Yeah, totally.
But then because we had set the goal, because we started making the right steps, you know, like when you can't see the end of the tunnel, or you know, like you walking through darkness to get to light, that kind of thing.
Right.
Like because we had like decided that we wanted to hit these goals, all of a sudden the universe started tinkering with these different things to make it so that way we could. Like I'm a big believer in that. And
totally.
And yeah, I think that it's poetic that you decided before you knew how sick the team was going to be, because it would be really easy to be like, dude, this is a sick team. I want to ball out.
Right.
I don't know. I just think that's cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. When I said it, I was like, no effing way. There's no way it can happen. But then as I said it, like the stars aligned.
Yeah.
Just like it did for you. And I feel like the problem with like most reps that set goals is they only do them once or twice and don't have a habit of thinking about it, saying it, writing it down every day.
Yeah, you're big into those affirmations.
Yeah, and even if like you weren't writing down your goal or like saying it out loud, maybe like you were thinking about it every day, I'm sure.
Oh, dude, I was saying it to myself constantly.
Yeah.
I just like how you had your things I said.
Yeah.
Mine was, I am 1,000 level rep.
Yeah.
God and the universe want me to hit 1,000 accounts. I can't control what other people think of me. I can only control my own actions.
Beautiful.
And same thing. I sold 400 accounts.
Yeah.
You know, mine was the same, but it slightly different. I am 1,000 level rep. Dude, right. I was saying that before the summer.
Yeah.
You know?
That's cool.
And it's like, and then it was just like, okay, well, at what point do you become 1,000 level rep? You know, is it day one?
Yeah.
Like, is it your first 100 accounts? Is it your last 100? Like,
yeah.
What's the difference between a 999 level rep and 1,000 level rep? Literally nothing. Like, you've been, the whole summer's a part of that 1,000 journey.
Right.
So like, I decided I'm going to act like 1,000 level rep. I'm going to do what 1,000 level reps would do. And therefore, like, it would be unreasonable to think that I would not be 1,000 level rep.
Totally.
So,
dude, that's amazing. and I love what you said, because like part of my main, like, I feel like one of the affirmations you said was control the controllables, right?
Yeah.
And like, so much crap happens to you in the summer.
So much
crap. Like, there is so many things outside of your control, like the neighborhoods you knock, the companies that are there, the weather, you know, maybe the service or the service pros that you have, the operations.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many different things that can happen in the summer. And I feel like a theme that I've noticed with all top reps in every industry in sales, adopt the mindset of like, hey, I'm just going to focus on what I can control, and everything else I can't. So there's no point in focusing on the outside uncontrollables, because it's all you can control is what you can, you know?
Yeah. Well, just kind of piggybacking on that, it's like, okay, it's going to be super rainy, and that's stressing you out because you can't fall behind on your goal.
Yeah.
Okay, well, is stressing helping you?
No.
Is stressing about the rain going to make it rain less?
100% not. Yeah.
Okay, so it reminds me of like in the Michael Jordan documentary, like he was so present.
Yeah.
It wasn't about whether he missed the last shot or he made the last shot. Like, dude, he was always so focused on right here and right now. Yeah. What is the best thing that I can be doing right now?
Yeah.
And that's what he would do.
Such a great question.
And so, dude, if it's raining super bad, like, what is the best thing that I can do right now?
Yeah.
You know? And if you constantly are doing the best thing in the moment, like, dude, you're going to have an incredible result, you know? Cause yeah, everyone who does sales, everyone who just does life runs into issues. Some are bigger than others, right? But there are certain people who, regardless of what the issue is, they're still going to figure it out, you know, and other people, they focus too much on the issues that come up, you know.
Right. Because what's right is always available to focus on, but so is what's wrong is always available.
Yeah.
So is what's right, you know? And also, like, you've seen the Hunger Games, right?
Of course, baby.
Dude, you know how like there's all those people at the computers like putting like challenges in the arena while they're all battling each other. I've always had the mindset, I don't know where I got this from, but like in the summer, a neighbor, a cop getting called in my neighborhood, the weather was just somebody putting an obstacle in my path, and everyone, the whole world's watching to see how I'm going to respond to this moment. And
are you going to win or are you going to lose?
Are you going to win or are you going to lose? Are you going to back down? Are you going to stop? Are you going to quit? Are you going to take a break? Or are you going to switch neighborhoods? Are you going to get an umbrella? Are you going to, you know, it's like every time something like that came up, I'd smile and said, oh, this is just a challenge.
Yeah.
The universe wants to test to see how bad I want my goal.
Yeah.
And I'm going to win over and over and over again and ultimately hit my goal.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the bigger the goal that you set, the more challenges come.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
You know, and it's like just knowing that ahead of time and becoming and deciding that you're going to be the person that no matter what, you're going to get through any obstacle that comes your way because you want the goal, you want the outcome, you want to become the person, the 1,000 level rep, more than all the crap.
Yeah. Well, you've heard this quote, like, if you have a strong enough why, you can endure any how.
Right. Totally.
Yeah. Like, dude, I made hitting 1,000 accounts like personal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it was like,
how'd you do that? Like just telling people?
No, it wasn't just telling people, but it was like, I knew that I wanted to have $100,000 a year of passive income.
Yeah.
Okay. And so if I wanted to have $100,000 passive income over the next like 4 years from now, that meant that I would need to basically invest $1 million at a 10% return.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, so I need to invest $100K this year, 200, 300, 400, like year 1, 2, 3, 4, that's $1 million.
Wow. That's a sick goal.
Yeah, but I also knew that like if I played my cards right, I could turn my 100K, like build on that, so I could
200
and use that. Yeah. Totally. But like the reason why that was important was because I wanted to give like my wife and kids 100% everything. Mm-hmm. And it's not that I had like, I was definitely not poor growing up by any means, but like, I don't know, like those Payless shoes, you know what I'm saying? Those like the frugal dinner that we had at home, like some of those dumb stuff, like
no appetizers when you did eat out.
Dude, I wanted to spoil the shiz out of my family.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
And so like that's been one of my goals as a dad. And so me hitting 1,000 accounts was really important because it was also going to provide security later down the road. Because dude, if you have a golden door, like it looks really good on a resume.
Totally.
I knew that I would always have like a certain benchmark of no matter what goes on in life, I could always come back to some summer sales company and make really good money.
Right. Always.
So like I wanted to invest. I wanted to have a certain level of security, like all these different things. Like all of a sudden hitting 1,000 accounts, like the difference between hitting 1,000 accounts and not was the difference between my family having all this extra security, like my family having that extra leg up so I can just absolutely spoil them. So it wasn't whether or not I was going to hit 1,000 accounts. Like I'm not sacrificing my kids.
Yeah.
I'm not sacrificing my wife.
Right.
You know?
That's awesome.
Even though it was like really, really difficult, I made it super personal. Like if I don't hit 1,000 accounts, here's what I'm risking.
Right.
Like I think that if people really understood how important succeeding now is, there would be a lot more successful people. But most people don't look into it and like go super far down the road.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
They don't get so clear of like, okay, if I don't hit my goal, then, you know, this, and this, like you did. Like you attached your goal to so many good things, but also so much pain. Yeah. You know?
Well, dude, I loved my family so much and I wanted to take care of them so much that like I could not hit my goal.
Dude, that's cool. Where'd you, dude, how did Andy become Andy?
What do you mean by that?
Dude, I just feel like your mindset's like so next level. And like, I know that you've been surrounded by really good people. Like my dad always said, like, you're going to be the same person you are 5 years from now, besides the people you meet and the books you read.
Yeah.
So like, do you feel like it's more the, like, I don't know if are you much of a reader?
Yeah.
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 But mostly people and like just Andy in his own mind being the creative thinker that he was born to be.
Yeah, I think like what made Andy? I don't know, dude. I think that like using and leveraging just little bits of trauma, little bits of sadness. Like I've alluded to it a couple times, but like, dude, when I was growing up, like I wanted to be the cool kid. Like I was the kid who got picked on in the cool crowd, meaning like I was a part of the cool crowd. Yeah. But at the same time, I was the butt of the joke. Yeah. You know, I was a little fat. I feel
like they switch who's the clown sometimes. Like I feel like everyone goes through that a little bit.
Yeah. But like, dude, I hated that. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And then like, I don't know. I just kind of, there was enough things that like I didn't like about who I was that I've just really been able to leverage that. And I think that if I had a superpower, it would be just committing and like finding a way to make things happen.
It totally is. Yeah.
Like, I don't know, just like when something's really important to me, like
it's going to happen.
Yeah. And it's not, I'm not trying to be weird when I say that, but I don't know. Like, I've had some traumas, but like, I commit really, really hard. And I have ADHD. So one of the things that, you know, can be a superpower and like a kryptonite at the same time is like, dude, I'm either very interested and I'm very committed, or I'm super not. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you're kind of the same way, but like there are certain things that I care about, certain things I don't. And like, dude, I'm either like guns blazing or I'm like chilling on the couch, you know, I don't know.
No, I feel like I'm the same way, honestly. Like, I'm so much of like an all in or all out person.
Yeah.
And when I'm all out, I'm all out.
Yeah. Know? And sorry to you about that, because sometimes when I'm all out and you're texting me about like real estate stuff, I'm just like, dude, I'm going through some drama right now and I'm like checked out. You know, I'm not mad at you.
Yeah. No, I know you're busy all the time and that's funny. So, okay, wait. So you had that goal of 100K passive income per year.
Yeah.
Are you close to that? On track? Where are you at with that?
Ahead of that, but in a very different way than I thought. Well, it's different because it's like, how do you want to view passive income? Like the way I've done it is like, I've shifted my goal so that way it's more net worth building. You know, like for example, I bought this place in St. George. Okay. I called up Jimmy Rex actually, and he connected me to this guy, Dakota Murdoch in St. George, super helpful agent.
Yeah.
And he helped find this place in Desert Color. Okay. Basically, it's this up and coming neighborhood. Do you ever drive through St. George?
I've driven through St. George.
Do you know where the Top Golf thing is? Yeah. So it's right off there.
Yeah, I think I've seen it.
Yeah. They built.
Like, they have like their pools and stuff.
Yeah. They're like 2.5 acre lagoons.
Yeah.
Anyways, long story short, I found a sick deal. Like I picked it up for $848 before it was built. The reason why I did that was because I saw the townhome across the street selling for $950. Mine was a single family.
Wow.
3,200 square feet, luxury build.
Okay.
The used townhome, so townhome, not single family.
Right.
2,400 square feet was going for $950.
Yeah, you're like.
And it was like phase 1B of this new development neighborhood. And I'm just like, dude, I've got to get into this neighborhood.
Yeah.
Problem was my taxes wouldn't let me.
Yeah.
I couldn't qualify.
Yeah.
And I didn't have have the money.
Yeah.
I needed to come up with like 180 grand in 45 days.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Cool.
And so, just because I had these other properties, I pulled some HELOCs, threw some money into it. I know you asked about passive income, but like basically I picked up this property for $850 and I was looking just the other day, it's valued at 1.52. Like, dude, thanks. I finished building it November of 22.
Wow.
Like,
dude, huge deal.
Yeah, I put in 180K and I'm up 600K on it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and most investors like taught traditionally just looking at cash flow would look at an investment like that. And maybe it doesn't make sense when you crunch the numbers. Like maybe you're losing $100-$200 a month, but dude, for you to double your money. And not even double your money. You
4x.
Yeah, 4x it because your down payment. So that's insane, dude.
And now we have the place and we Airbnb it, so it's paying for itself. It's giving, I love that my kids ask about when we're going to the vacation house or, do we have to stop by one of the rental properties?
Yeah.
Like the fact that my kids know what a vacation house is and a rental property.
Yeah. So
like,
cool.
I just think it's so cool because like, I don't know, that's what's going to be normal for them. Not in like a snobby way, but like, hey, commit yourself and like, it's normal to succeed, I guess.
And it's cool because like you have 3 kids, right?
Yep.
3 kids and they're watching their dad just hustle and grind and go through hell and back, every year for them to like build a better lifestyle for them and you. It's really cool. Dude, and I think cash flow and like appreciation and like value add and like reading markets and like trends like you did with that property is so important and it's not talked about. Like, cause in the past, like I was so like anti deal if it didn't cash flow 10% after everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like
you learned that from Chandler Smith.
And it's a really good principle. Like Chandler, like I owe a crap ton to him. But like Brandon Turner, the host of The Bigger Pockets, and Dave, the other guy, like there was a story where they were walking on the beach in Hawaii and Dave looks at Brandon. Brandon lives in Hawaii, but Dave was just visiting and Dave looks at Brandon and says, hey, like, what do you think that beach house on the hill is worth right now? And he said, oh, probably like 7 million. Like, it's a really nice property, lots of acres. It's beautiful, really good location. He's like, what do you think it will be, 10 years from now? He's like, probably 15, 16 million.
Yeah.
Like, that's $8 million if you bought that property and waited 10 years. So I'm like,
you probably have to put 40% down to buy that property.
Yeah,
you put down 2.8 million.
Yeah, and you have what?
And you go up 7.
It's insane. It's crazy. And like, even if you did have that property and it was negative cash flowing you, let's say $1,000 to $3,000 a month, it doesn't matter if you can weather that storm. Like, that property, because of the location and what it is going to go up in value.
Yeah, and that was the one thing I was going to say. Like, do be careful. Not everywhere does appreciate like that, but like, and Hawaii for sure.
Right, and we're not saying go buy every freaking luxury home that you can with a good location, but like, I think it's really smart to start with the 10% cash on cash, the old, ugly looking properties that, like, you put a little bit of work into them and they cash flow really well for you. Like, I think our triplex cash flow is like 30% a year or something crazy.
Dude, it might be more than, I think
it's pretty good.
Like, and that's cash flow. That's not like gross. Like, that's net.
Yeah, everything. So, but like, start with that. But once you have like some cash flow coming in every month, you can make more bets. Like your deal. Like, if you would have, you told me about that deal and I thought it was the dumbest thing ever when you were telling me, but I didn't tell you that. I'm like, oh, cool, Andy. Like, but dude, to see what it's turned into is like,
dude, literally,
that's the best appreciation ever.
15 months later, and
it doubles.
The property is almost worth twice what it was, and I didn't buy it cash.
Yeah,
I just like I 3 or 4x my money into it. But yeah, dude, I think that's really important, though, to kind of, one thing that you were saying is like, you kind of have to start safe.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to get your 10%.
Yeah.
But once you start succeeding and getting bigger, like, you can make some of those like more lucrative shots.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying? That kind of loops back around to, people don't understand how important success is right now. Because, dude, if I hadn't succeeded when I succeeded, I wouldn't have been in a position, like, if I wasn't surrounded by people who like understood,
who were investing, like Tosh, like Judd, like Chandler.
Dude, I learned how to do taxes. I hire an accountant, best money I've ever spent.
Totally.
But like, having the confidence to like run through and like analyze different things, and like just being in a situation where I could finagle a way to pull the trigger on that property. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, I did start small, but because I succeeded and I was so focused when I was just starting out,
right?
To the guy who's, I want to be a multimillionaire in real estate as well, but how do I do it when prices are so high?
Right.
Find small wins, find something safe now, and like,
it's one deal at a time.
Succeed.
Yeah.
Succeed as big as you can right now, and just like, dude, watch the snowball build,
dude, And it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. Because like, if you have, let's say, like $5 million worth of rental properties, the average appreciation in America since the beginning, since they started tracking, it's 5%.
Dude, so that's 250 grand a year.
250 grand you're making, and you're not really doing much. It's like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Dude, real estate's fun. We could do a whole nother episode on just real estate investing. But
one thing I do want to highlight, once again, about proximity, the reason we're in real estate is because we got around other people who are succeeding big, who were in real estate.
Yeah.
If you're hanging out with bums, if you're hanging out with people who aren't making something happen, like, some way or another, you're not really going to make things happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I think that that's really important. That's one of the reasons why I truly love sales and I highly recommend it, is just because like who you're able to like surround yourself with.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, that's why I started the podcast, because I know how valuable the few interactions you and I have had, the few interactions I've had with Chandler, Tosh a little bit more, but like those interactions, like every single person in your life is influencing you one way or the other.
Yeah.
And like people are either helping you get close to your goals or taking you further away. And it's not to say like delete everyone that you think is not helping you achieve your goals, right? But it's like just being intentional, right? And listening to podcasts like this, or reading books, or like going into groups or occupations like sales where there's a lot of people that are hustling, that are grinding to make crap happen and get ahead financially so they can live the life of their dreams, you know? So I think, power proximity, like I really just wanted to have a reason to meet with ballers every week and, you know, share it with the world. So,
well, one thing that I do love is you've been doing this for a long time before you started the podcast.
Yeah.
You would take these guys who were extremely successful out to lunch, pick their brain on what they did.
Yeah.
Dude, copy and paste.
Success leaves clues.
Plagiarism, like plagiarizing other people's success stories is the easiest way to guarantee your own.
Totally.
So.
Word. That was powerful.
Love that.
Dude, Andy, I really appreciate you coming on. If you guys got value from the podcast today, share it with someone that you think would benefit from it. Like, share, and subscribe if you can. It really helps us get more high proximity people on the show. And the last thing with Andy is, Andy, where can they follow you? Obviously, you got your podcast, Summer Sales Podcast.
Yeah, Summer Sales Podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can connect it in the show notes, cool. So people have a link. Mm-hmm. And then Summer Sales Podcast just on Instagram, or they can follow me directly. I'm just Andy, the solar guy. And yeah, I'm really good at responding to people who have questions. I also do coaching. So, you know, if you're in sales and you're trying to find ways to take it to the next level, I can see if I can help. I'd love to. Chances are it's worth what it costs.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for having me on. Honestly, like having this chat was really cool, really fun. I'm excited to listen to it.
Yeah, me too.
Run it back.
Thanks a lot, Andy.
Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.
Peace.